Hi, I'm Stevie Lee with Paperland and Writers, and today I'm talking with Linda Ulleseit and Rebekah DeHarling, who are fellow Lanterns, and we are going to talk about something called hybrid publishing. Linda, why don't you go ahead and tell us exactly what hybrid publishing is?
Okay, hybrid publishing kind of took the middle ground between self-publishing and traditional publishing. So with a hybrid publisher, you end up having to pay something up front, which you would not have to do with a traditional publisher, but they take on a lot of the responsibility of designing the book, warehousing the book, unlike a self-publisher. So they're kind of an in-between the two types of publishing.
So Rebekah, my question for you is you've just published your first novel, and you decided to go with hybrid publishing. What went into that decision where you decided not to go traditional or self-publishing?
Well, a lot of queries to agents went into that decision. For a year, I told myself I was going to give myself a year to query, and I did. And I got people asking for the manuscript, but no takers. And I had known about hybrid publishing before I even started querying, because I had gone to a one-day workshop with Brooke Warner, who runs She Writes Press, which is a hybrid publisher. So I always knew that was a possibility in the back of my mind. The longer things dragged on, I thought, I'm going to take my destiny into my own hands and go with a hybrid publisher.
Linda, my question is, I believe when you did Under the Almond Trees, you did self-publishing, correct?
Yes, but actually I went back to that. My very first book came out and I went with a traditional publisher. It was a very small New York publisher. And I liked the idea that they were small. I was kind of getting on the ground floor, and they published my first book of my Flying Horse trilogy, my young adult historical fantasy. So then the subsequent books in that trilogy, and then Under the Almond Trees, I self-published. So I had experience doing both. I like the control in self-publishing, because in self-publishing, you get all the information about sales. I mean, if you sell one book in some corner of Denmark, you know that. In a traditional publisher, or even in a hybrid publisher, you don't have that level of information about your sales, which is good and bad.
Yeah. So what made you decide the second time to go with hybrid rather than self-publishing?
So I decided to go with She Writes Press to expand my reach. I had gotten to the point where I could do what I could do with self-publishing. I couldn't get any more people to know about my book. I needed someone else's contacts to reach further. And so She Writes Press was able to do that for me.
Great. Now, Rebekah, so what services did hybrid publishing offer that were most attractive to you?
Well, I think, in addition to things Linda has mentioned about, cover design and interior book design, and they actually have a sales force that goes out and has contacts and pre-sells your book into the market. And that was really attractive to me. And also, a good distribution system.
That sounds really helpful. First doing it and you have no idea, what you're doing.
Yes.
So, Linda, would you go with hybrid publishing again, or would you look at going back to self-publishing? How do you feel about it now?
I actually am ready with my next book, and I'm actually in the process of researching that right now. Initially, the cost of the hybrid publishing is obviously higher than self-publishing, and so that's a down for hybrid publishing. But when you do the self-publishing, yes, you have more control, but you also have more responsibility. Paying someone to edit it, paying someone to design a cover, paying someone to design it, publishing it, printing it. You don't have any warehousing, so you have to do a print on demand. All of that is time consuming, and I'd really rather write. So the upside of She Writes is they do it all for you, and they create a beautiful product, and they do have some marketing. You still have to do a lot of marketing on your own, but they do have a marketing arm in place, which is really nice. So yeah, I'm leaning toward going with She Writes again.
I mean, just that they do all the design work and everything. I did not, of course, I haven't done my first self-publish, or I haven't even decided which way I'm going to go yet. But, now I'm getting a kind of a view of what on earth is all involved.
Well, actually, if you add up, because She Writes is one fee up front, but if you add up the cost it takes to developmentally edit it, the cost for a copy editor, the cost for a cover designer, the cost for the interior designer, you're getting pretty close to what She Writes charges.
I kind of had looked at the price and thought, well, I don't know, because I haven't quite got to that level yet. doing those last final rewrites. So how about you, Rebekah? Is that the route that you would go again, or would you want to try self-publishing?
Yeah, I'm going to go that route again. I'm too overwhelmed even as it is to deal with what I have to do for marketing and all that. The idea of trying to do everything to figure out to self-publish is more than I can bear. And also I have to say, and I don't know if this is the case with other hybrid publishers or not, but with the one that Linda and I went with, She Writes Press, the community of authors is just wonderful. People are just so generous with information. I've learned so much from that group, and everybody's so supportive that in itself is really a big plus for me.
Yes, me too. The community is a huge plus. The opportunities, they share ideas, they share encouragement. It's really very, very good.
Yeah. So you get more than just someone publishing your book. You get
sisterhood
support.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And do they give you lots of information on good ways to market yourself or market your book?
Yes, they do. There are a lot of ideas that they're very helpful. If you ask a question like, "Hey, that sounded really good. How did you do that?" They're more than willing. I've not had anybody say, figure it out yourself or anything like that. They're all very, very helpful.
Wow. So this gives me a lot to think about.
And they're also there when you're commiserating, when you say, "Oh, that didn't go well," or "I don't know what I'm doing." They're all there to let you cry on their shoulder. It works very well.
So after you've done the hybrid publishing, what exactly is still your responsibility? Rebekah?
Well, the marketing is your responsibility, working on the social media, trying to get yourself on a podcast, trying to do guest blogs, all of that is your responsibility. But from what I understand, unless you're a big name, that's pretty much your responsibility if you're with a traditional publisher also. So right. I think everybody's kind of in that same boat.
Yes.
And Linda, do you have anything to add to that as far as what your responsibilities are with hybrid publishing?
Well, there are also hidden fees. Sometimes your book may need another round of editing, so that'll cost you a little bit more. And you have to pay for printing your book. That's more on top of the initial fee. So for people who are thinking about going into hybrid publishing, that initial fee you pay them is not the last money you're going to spend. So yes, it's pricey, but you have to think about in the long run, what do you want from it? Are you going to get rich doing it? No. Are you going to get your name out there? Yes. Are you going to build a community that will help you become a better writer and a better marketer? Yes.
Linda, since you're on with your second book, you had the Under the Almond Trees, and now you have Aloha Spirit. Are you seeing that, having gone with the hybrid press, that you've had a lot more sales and just a lot more exposure?
Definitely. I would say not as many sales as I wanted to, but definitely more sales than Under the Almond Trees. Yes.
Well, we're never going to have as many sales as we want to. Well, thank you, Linda and Rebekah, for sharing your valuable insights into this newer form of publishing.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.